What's going on, everybody? It's Brian Tripp. I am here in Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome to another episode of the REI Extra Show. We do a real estate investing extra show in addition to our regular interview show to give you some real estate extras. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Dominick Wallace. How's it going today, Dominick?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking, Brian.
Awesome, man. Well, I want to publicly thank you for sponsoring our club, being a vendor of REI Live. You're a valued asset to who we are and what we do. And I wanted to give you a chance to kind of jump on here and tell people about the incredible products and services that you have. And I think I already know a lot of people in our group that have used you and are using you currently. And I'd really love for you to let's start there at the base level, because there's going to be a lot of people listening to this that don't know who you are and what you do. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what your company, Wallace Capital Funding, is all about?
All right. My name is Dominick Wallace, and of course, the company's name is Wallace Capital Funding. And we've been in business for 16 years. It'll be 17 years come November. So we've been doing this a while. And how I got into this financing business, I would actually own a painting contracting business. And I was looking for financing for that. And I was like, my biggest problem was I worked with larger general contractors and sometimes owners. And these general contractors say, well, Dominick, I'll pay you when I get paid. I was just like, well, and as a painting contractor, my guys wanted to get paid every Friday, no matter what. And I was like, so what am I going to do? These guys, they want to drink their beer on Friday, they want their money. So I learned about this type of financing called account receivable finance from them. But that's kind of how I first got into this financing. And you're welcome to call me and talk more about that. But most everybody here is more interested in the real estate financing on that part. But yeah, just to kind of segue through that, since then I've kind of learned a bunch of different type of financing, because people will say, well, hey, Dominick, I got a business here. Can you teach me how to do this? I remember when I first moved here in 2004, I went to the local SBA office and I was like, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to do some account receivable financing. And the guy, SBA office says, hey, we need help doing these SBA loans. And I was like, well, that's not really what I'm trying to do. And there's like, well, if you do this, you'll get connected with some bankers and that kind of stuff, and it'll help you grow your business. And I said, okay. So what you got with us and our company, you got someone that really understands the business finance. We're not like a mortgage broker where, somebody just come in there to find a house, find it's a personal residence. We really understand it, how, their language. Let's say the bankers talk in Chinese. Well, we know their language.
Right.
We'll talk to you in English, and then we convey that information to the financial institution. Also, we are a financial institution as well. So we have we call a win-win-win strategy. So obviously a win for the borrower, which be you, a win for the lender, and then win for us, and also the community too. So sometimes there's 4 wins, and there's always 4 wins in there, because go ahead. If there's not a deal that doesn't work for everybody, it's not going to be sustainable. So that's
for sure.
That's our philosophy.
That's awesome. Well, Dominick, you mentioned the real estate investor. Talk specifically. I know you're going to give us some examples, and if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to actually share your screen so we can see some stuff that you're up to. But you mentioned the real estate investor. Let's talk about that real estate investor. How can you help real estate investors?
Awesome. I'm great that you asked. I'm going to share my screen here. We wrote this article called "The 5 Ways to Finance Real Estate for Real Estate Investors," and I'll just kind of quickly go through it here. So let's just say you've identified a property that you could buy, because obviously everybody wants to find a good deal, right? So let's just say you can find it for 50 grand, right? Well, after you fix it up or rehab that property, it could be worth 100 grand. So obviously you're coming to us, you're looking to us to try to provide you the fuel, the nugget, the tools to be able to get this deal done, right? Obviously there's other ways to do it, but all these principles are really important. If you're a wholesaler, fix and flipper, if you're quick turner, whatever you're doing, all these principles are really important because all of these financing play. So what we do differently than like a mortgage broker is we're financing that property in their business entity's name. So LLC or Inc. And typically, if you're going to a traditional mortgage, maybe you're trying to get it like an FHA loan or something like that. But we're looking at putting that loan, we can go up to about 80% CLTV, which means seller carry back about 5% on a deal. And sometimes on the SBA side and that kind of stuff, we can do is upward to 90%. But this is more so talking about the residential commercial properties. And then, of course, we got a program. Let's say you bought a property 50 grand. Then let's say it's going to rehab costs is like 20. Well, rehab is 15 grand, maybe closing costs 5 grand. That might be high. So 50 plus 15 plus 5, that's 70%. So we can go up to 70% of the after repair value. So we'll give you the money to buy the property and the money to fix it up. So that's number 2. And then, of course, we had some people there. They're like, they just want to get some cash out. Hey, I got this property. I just want to get cash out, maybe to fix up another property or buy another property. We have some of that too. And then also, and you've had a lot of speakers that come there, talking about operating your real estate business like a business. We also offer just regular business loans. I can show people how to just structure the business so you can just have enough working capital. Remember, I was just talking about my business, just having working capital just to operate the business. So, that's number 4. And then also one of the things that we do, because we understand how credit works for businesses, that's, I'll just quickly explain. On account receivable financing side, do you know, Brian, you know what account receivable is?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It means,
so
it means you've got stuff that you got money coming in, you've got invoices, but you haven't collected it yet.
Right. And that's next to cash on your balance sheet. That's the second thing that's most liquid. So when I was at a contractor, that's what I sold, that asset. Well, what the finance company, what they're doing is when they're looking at their receivable, they're saying, okay, how creditworthy is that receivable? Who owes that money to you? All right. So we have to check as a finance company, and this is one of the finance we offer. We look at the creditworthiness of your customer to determine on if we're going to buy that asset and how valuable that asset is. Mm-hmm. So we use that information to show the business owner how to improve their credit profile so that they can go out and get different credit lines. So let's say you wanted to get a Home Depot card or a Lowe's card or Sears or whatever. You want to get these various cards in your company's name to be able to better manage your cash flow to do deals. So that's one of the things that we also show business owners how to do.
That's awesome.
To improve their.
Dominick, yes, sir. Let's scroll back up to the top. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to the podcast, that's fine. I want to let's go through these one at a time. These are the 5 things that your company offers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. I'd love to go through each one of these. I know you kind of did it, but I would love to go through each one of these individually and ask some questions about them. Does that work for you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So number 1 on your sheet, you've got this sheet pulled up that says the 5 different ways to finance real estate for investors. So
Right,
number one
right.
is just a mortgage, a traditional mortgage. And I heard you say that you can do this in an LLC's name, a business entity's name.
That's correct.
Talk about this one in particular. I've never heard of, I don't know CLTV. I know loan to value, but what is CLTV? And it says you have stated income programs, no income verification, up to 80% CLTV. What does that
That's
mean?
correct. All right. So LTV, for those that do not know, stands for loan to value. So, and I'll say this if it's okay, Brian. If you go to funds for investor.com, I will send a copy of this to everyone. And also on that website, they can put their information in, and then they can be put in for some of these webinars that we're doing right now, and they can ask their own questions. But I
So
just wanted to put that out there if we
yeah, yeah.
could.
So the website is funds, plural,
Funds,
funds for
funds,
investor.
yes, for investor, singular. So funds is plural, and the FOR, investor, uh, singular.com.
Awesome. Fundsforinvestor.com. I'm going to go there. You can get some resources. You can get the sheet right here that Dominick has posted. He's going to the website now on the YouTube video. He's got his screen shared. He's all prepped, ready to go. So it says special program for a woman real estate investor. I'm not a woman. You still service me?
Yes, I can still service you. I'm glad you asked the question. So, what one of the things that we'll do, and if you and I can talk about this specifically if you want, or we can go back to this, but I did want. Well, let's go into it if it's okay. But you can stop me and then we'll come back. So one of the things so the common question I get is, why are you providing a program for women real estate investors? That's a comment. And then the other question they says, what is the catch? What is the catch? And I say, okay, well, first of all, one of the things that there's 1.7 trillion in revenues that women-owned businesses generate, with millions of they employ millions of workers, and this is the fastest growing segment in the market, women real estate investors. But check this out. Do you know that 60% of all realtors are women, but only in the population, only 30% of the population are women real estate? I got this information. Directly from one of the large real estate agencies, and I was like, "Wow." So we're like, all right, well, they're the fastest growing segment. Now so Brian asked, well, wait a minute now, I want to get in on the fund. How can I get on the fund? Well, just partner up with a woman. That's it. It's that easy. That's it.
And Dominick, I've been told as well by my accountant. Now, I'm not a CPA, but I've been told that if you own a business, or if a female owns majority share in a business, there's like a big tax advantage for that too. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I can't. Obviously, we're both not CPAs, so there are some benefits out there for our women real estate investors.
So
Yeah.
my wife owns a majority share in all of our companies.
Well, there you go.
So there's like a little, I mean, that's obviously both of our income. It's both of our, we own it together, but she has like a 50.01% majority share, so we can get some more tax advantages. So that's something that, don't do that on your own. Have your CPA advise you on some stuff like that as well.
Yeah, CPA attorney. Now, Brian, both of us being married, even if they didn't own half of the business, they truly own half of the business.
In our state, in the state of Alabama, that is definitely true.
And even if they didn't have any part of the business, they would still run half our lives or more than half our lives anyway.
You can talk for yourself. You can speak for your own wife. I'm going to say no comment there. Well, Dominick, let's jump back to that other screen.
Okay.
Let's talk. Really want to go through these five. I want to help people who are listening to this.
Yeah,
and we can definitely, guys, go to fundsforinvestor.com so Dominick can send you some stuff. You can see some different things that he's got going on, some different programs. I really want to help people who are listening to this podcast right now or watching the video on how you, Dominick, can specifically help them with their real estate investing, whether it's buy and hold or it's they need some fix and flip. Maybe they need some business credit. Maybe they need some of these different facets. Let's go through these. So again, number one on your sheet, there are 5 ways to finance real estate for investors. And number one is a mortgage, just a traditional mortgage that I'm sure you can go to any bank. And I'm sure most of the questions that people might ask are, Dominick, how competitive are you versus maybe a Chase, something like that, maybe like one of these Bank of America, one of these bigger banks, or Wells Fargo, or versus maybe some of the portfolio lenders that are out there that are keeping some of their deals in-house. How competitive are you against those typical banks? Why should I use you and not a bank?
All right, great question. Let me just make it very clear, okay? We are not a bank, okay? So like we pull money from other investors, hedge funds, lines of credit, those kind of things. So we're not able to offer the same types of terms for the bank. If you can qualify for the bank, go to the bank, okay? The clientele that come to us, they're looking for a source where they don't have to provide tax returns. They don't have to provide financials.
Gotcha.
They don't have, they're trying to close quicker. They're coming to us, and we'll work with you to get you to the point where you can go to a bank. Because when people come to us, like one of the concerns that a lot of people will have is, well, shoot, can I actually qualify for financing? Can I qualify? That might be a concern. Or like I have some people to come to us and like, Dominick, I want to figure out, before I go put a contract on a house or commercial property, I want to be able to pre-qualify first. What kind of deals can I qualify? So I'll go back to that, but let's go dig into this. So the typical client that we have is majority of our clients are usually startup or younger real estate investors.
Okay.
That's typically the type of clientele. So they don't have, typically the bank is looking to see that you've been in business for a minimum of 2 to 3 years before they even mess with you. So where do you go if you're not in that situation? The other thing is, the reason why we are a big proponent of closing a loan in your business name is what'll typically happen if you get all these mortgages in your personal name. Over time, you're going to come to a situation where you're not going to be able to qualify. You're going to have like debt to income ratio problems and all that kind of stuff. So
Dominick,
treat this as a business. Go ahead.
For sure. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to hammer this home. I want to really understand who your customer is and who would benefit from your services. And it sounds to me like it's the person who, like you said, who's newer, kind of doesn't have a whole lot of credit, maybe doesn't have a very old business. And then I heard you say no doc loans, basically. So you're not going to get going through Dominick, going through Wallace Capital Funding. You may not get the terms that you might get at a traditional bank. But Dominick, I know you've told me in the past that you help people get to that point where they can go to a bank. And in the meantime, you can still qualify them for a loan where they may not have qualified through traditional means.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we still can offer like a 30-year AM. 30-year amortization. What is a 30-year AM or 30-year amortization? Meaning that the payments will still be structured out over 30 years. So we can still offer that product in where you can structure where if you go maybe like a private investor or something like that, they're going to be want to do it for a short period of time.
For sure.
So we can structure it over a long period of time so you can get this cash flow. Obviously, from the type of investor that you're using, I always say you always got to make sure you use the right tool for what you're trying to do. So like the mortgage is for if you have a property that you're looking to buy and hold for rental income, this is the type of financing that you want to use, you know.
Gotcha.
So
So mortgages, you do traditional stuff, more traditional mortgages, and then you also, if you go to number 2 on the screen, you do rehab, like
rehab loans.
Rehab loans. And I heard you say earlier, and it's right here on the screen, that you'll actually fund up to 100% of the purchase and repair as long as the total LTV, loan to value, is 70% or less.
70% of the after repair value. So
how do you
buying in a neighbor? So okay, so you're buying in if the comps in that neighborhood are, you know, we'll just use round numbers, are $100,000, right? That's where most of the houses are worth or sold. And you're able to buy that house, let's say 50 cents on the dollar, right? $50,000. But it requires about 15 grand in repairs, right? You got to put in a lot of money to fix it up and then leave another five grand for like closing calls and
Got it.
that stuff.
Got it.
So we can go up to 70% of that.
Let's talk specifics here, because I know some real estate investors are going to ask you a little bit more of the granular questions. One is, who determines the ARV? How do you determine that? Do you get a independent BPO, a broker's price opinion, or is it something you do like a desktop appraisal? How do you figure that?
So yeah, we to keep the transparency so that everybody can see it, we use a third party appraisal company to make that determination.
Gotcha.
So we just so you understand kind of where we are. We're private, but we're not a bank. So we kind of fit in between maybe your hard money people and your private people, but we're not quite what the bank is. So we still operate under some institutional guidelines.
Understand. So, and I'm trying to ask the questions that any real estate investor would ask you. Do you only operate in the state of Alabama? What states do you operate in, Dominick?
So I'm originally from the Washington D.C. area, and I've lived in North Carolina. So there's only a handful of states that we're unable to be licensed in, but for the most part, you know, everywhere in the Southeast, we're good.
So what states are you not in? Because this is a national show, everybody's going to hear this. What states are you not in?
Let's see. Right now, we can't do anything in Illinois. We can go into California. We just haven't gotten licensed there. We can go there. Texas, we're good. Louisiana, Mississippi, obviously here, Alabama.
So
Georgia,
you're naming states that you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Texas.
Where can people go to like a website to get the full map on where you are? Or do you have that somewhere where people can see that?
I'll go ahead and put that together. But I'll say this: if you just put it, I'm just requesting your email. If you just put it in that fundsforinvestor.com, I'll send you all that information.
And then obviously everybody's going to ask you what kind of terms. So if let's say I'm interested in doing a rehab loan with you, Dominick, and you've gone through a third party appraisal, all the numbers work good. What kind of offer sheet are you going to put in front of me?
All right. So let's from a range. We do things what I call risk-based pricing. Okay. So with the risk is obviously we look at who the borrower is. so their credit profile. Most of our programs, we like borrowers to be above a 650 credit score or better. And obviously, the higher your credit score is, the better your terms. And then also what will fluctuate, the term is, the length of time that we're gonna be in the loan. So let me just say this because financing companies are just like any business, right? We're obviously we want to make money just like you want to make money. So the two ways that we make money is either by points or interest, right? So we'll have to have a discussion on how long is the loan going to be there, because that's the way we make money, is the interest on the money. If you tell us it's going to be a short period of time, or based on what we're looking at, then we're going to charge points in order to make our money.
Gotcha.
So it just depends on that, and I'll just say I'll just say that.
Can you give me a range?
A range. All right. Here's the problem when you say a range.
Okay? All right, never mind. Don't give me a range then.
Because as soon as you say the range, everybody will only think of the lower amount. They're not going to think of that. But yeah, just here's the great thing. There's only 7 bits of information we need, and then we can send you a quote. All right, a no frill, a quote. That you'll know exactly based on that information, and all that stuff will be at fundsforinvestor.com as well.
So when I apply for something like this, do I apply online or do I have to call in? What's the application process look like?
So what we have done is at the Funds for Investor, fundsforinvestor.com, once you put in your email address, it'll send you back an email, and in that email there'll be a questionnaire, and if you complete that questionnaire, once you get that questionnaire, based on the information we'll give you a quote, and then from there, if you say, hey Dominick, this looks great, or Dominick, hey, I have a question about this, and this, then we'll tailor it to your needs, or we'll say, well, hey, maybe you'd be better off going to the bank, or maybe you'd be better off going to a private investor. We'll tell you that straight up.
It sounds like a pretty easy process, at least in the beginning, to get some sort of range, like you were saying, or some sort of ballpark of what it would be, or even something that's even more specific than that. So the 5 ways to finance real estate for investors: mortgage, rehab loans, and then there's and we're running out of time. We got about 5 minutes left. Dominick, talk about these last few. You got hard money loans on here. And then the 2 at the bottom I really want you to touch more on is the business loans and the business credit. Talk about that for a second. I know you already talked about it, but why are these types of things important, and how can we as new investors get qualified for stuff like this?
Okay. All right. So let me just say it like this, okay? Remember I was telling you how when I first came to Alabama, I came to the SBA loan office, right? So I got a fire hydrant of how to do business loans. I get intricated in that. So one of the things that we do that's really unique to other businesses out there is that we do what's called a business funding analysis. Okay, what is that? All right. So picture you driving across country, right? You're going driving. If you're here in Alabama, you come from the East Coast, Alabama, you're driving all the way to California, right? What's the first thing you're going to do with your car, right? You're going to get it checked out, okay? You're going to get it checked out. You're going to have someone look under the hood and say, okay, do I need an oil change? Do I need to rotate my tires? Hey, what do I need to fix in order to make this trip? Because you don't want to just get in the car and then just be stuck on the side of the road. So we have a process as well that on the business loan side, specific on the business loans and the business credit, to look under the hood, so to speak, and see where you stand, because there's various different programs out there depending on your personal credit profile of your business.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the things that we do, because there's business loans out there that's like a 25-year AM, and then there's business loans out there that are only a six-month term. You know, it depends on. That's why we need to have a conversation. How is this loan this tool? Because I don't know if anybody can see this, but so so real estate looks like this, right? Looks like a piece of gold, right? The goal is to get the gold for real estate. All I do is just provide the shovel. That's all I do. But you got to have the right shovel, right? So that's what I do. We figure out, based on your unique business and your real estate, you know, if you're buy and hold, you're a wholesaler, you know, what are you trying to do, and what's the proper tool for your company?
It's awesome stuff, man. I really do appreciate you sharing more about your business. There's obviously a lot more to this. If people wanted to get in touch with you, maybe even watch your webinar, because I know there's going to be a ton more information in it than what we could cover on this little short show. How can people get in touch with you, and how can people get registered for your webinar?
All right, so just go to funds, FUNDSFOR for investor.com. Now, obviously, when you go there, you're going to see, for some of you guys, you're going to see, well, there's a lady there, but just register there. Register there, and then a webinar come up. And actually, I'm kind of going from this PowerPoint that I did it when the last presentation. Thanks to Brian, let me speak at the group. And I'll do this similar presentation. I'll go through it all. It'll be really easy for you to figure out, use plain Jane terms. You know, finance is fun. It's fun. I know everybody don't think, but I think it's fun.
It is fun. and Dominick, we appreciate you guys. Go to fundsforinvestor.com and you can get registered for the webinar in there. And I highly recommend that you do it, really, because this right now in our landscape, like, funding is actually, obviously it's critical to what we do, and they're loosening the guidelines more and more and more. It's becoming a lot easier to get. And Dominick is one of those resources at Wallace Capital Funding. He's one of the resources that can get you this funding. He can get you the business credit in your LLC's name or in your business's name, where it's not tied to you personally. He can get you business loans. He can help you, obviously, with real estate investor loans and things like that. And they can go up to amortization terms up to 30 years. So it's definitely something, at the very least, go and research this. Get on the webinar to where he can give you a little bit more information about it. Dominick, I can't thank you enough, not just for hopping on the show, but for everything you do for REI Live, Real Estate Investing Live. Obviously, we're in Alabama now. We're in Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. We're constantly spreading our wings out just as you are, and I know you're operating in most every state. So, guys, reach out to Dominick. We thank you again, man. We really do appreciate you.
Hey, Brian, man, I appreciate you allowing me to come on.
Awesome. Guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button to our podcast. We got a lot of incredible content coming up that you don't want to miss. We love you so much, and we will see you next time.